early 2023 wide receiver breakouts. You know, you could define a breakout. Breakouts are going to be defined in different ways. It could just be going from being fully healthy, getting a quarterback upgrade, maybe getting a new offensively minded head coach, or they could definitely smash and get into the next tier. We're going to tell you who, the what, the why, and the most important thing in fantasy football, the how much. Nate, you love going first. So we're going to start with you. Who is your early 2023 wide receiver breakout?
Yeah, so I was trying to find somebody that I thought was cheap enough that, we can just go find, not have a huge risk for, but still give us some good upside. Going through the list of guys in that mid to late tier of value at the wide receiver position, I was pretty excited about Sky Moore. He is a rookie this year, but the Jets have certainly cooled on him, as one of the hot names during the draft, going to the Mahomes-led Chiefs. Everyone was really excited about what he would do. He really hasn't had a ton of production this year. In the last 3 games, though, he has started to look a little bit better. He's starting to get 40% snap count each of the last 3 games. He's getting out there on the field, even with Juju Smith-Schuster back this past weekend. 2 of the last 3 games, he's had 6 targets and 5 receptions. With the second-round draft capital that he has, he's going to be part of that offense next year. He has his opportunity to be part of that offense next year, and he's starting to show some promise. He's got the second-round draft capital, so he was with the team for 4 years. We've seen how they hold on and try to get their wide receivers involved throughout the rookie contract. They're still trying to get Mecole Hardman involved. So Sky Moore is going to get opportunities over the next 3 years, and it's going to be opportunities from Patrick Mahomes, who we know is probably the best quarterback in college, in all of football right now. Yeah. I'm going to say college football, but
he would be the best in college right now.
He would be the best quarterback, obviously, in college football as well. But it's still his rookie season. He could still gain some momentum at the end of this season. Also, we know the Chiefs are going to be in the playoffs. Sky Moore, if he does anything in the playoffs, his name is going to be huge this offseason. You might even want to flip him for the end by the rookie draft. You might be flipping him for a first-round pick if he has a Gabe Davis-esque playoff. Sky Moore is a guy I think you want to go get right now because he's tied to an incredible offense. And even if next year they bring in some competition and he's a wide receiver 2, you're still getting the wide receiver 2 in the Chiefs offense. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a free agent after this year. I doubt he's coming back to the Chiefs. He'll find somewhere else. And Mecole Hardman's going to be a free agent as well. We've talked about this before. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is still going to be there, but Sky Moore, I could see him surpassing him on snap count by the end of the season. And if they do bring in competition, I still think Sky Moore in that slot position would be the number 2 target at the wide receiver position. It's a guy I'm trying to target. And to get him, you can send a guy like Jacoby Myers. If you're looking towards next season, I like Jacoby Myers for the production this year, but if you're already looking towards next year and you're trying to find some value, Jacoby Myers is a guy you can move on. He'll be a free agent. I don't know where he's going to end up. Devin Singletary also would be a guy I would move for Sky Moore if I'm looking towards next year. And then, of course, if you're starting to look at moving some draft capital, you could probably get Sky Moore for a mid to late second 2023 pick. Yeah, and we'll definitely have to keep an eye on Kadarius Toney. I'm not convinced by Toney yet, but if he breaks out, obviously that's going to be something we'll have to take into account with Sky Moore. But like I said, if the Chiefs decide that Sky Moore and Toney are what they want to move forward with, you're still happy having one of the two.
Pork, why don't we move on to you? Who's going to be smashing wide receiver wise in 2023 for you?
Jahan Dotson is a guy that, we kept trying to push the narrative on. End of the first round, you want these 2 running backs or you want Jahan Dotson. And Jahan Dotson is that guy. First game, he had 2 touchdowns with Carson Wentz, who obviously isn't the quarterback for anybody anymore. And he came back from injury. He had Terrell Heineke last week, and last week he had a really good game. Had the winning touchdown in that game. Well, not the winning touchdown, but the tying touchdown because they actually tied. He was dealing with that hamstring injury, and we were just waiting for him to come back to be 100%. And I'm glad that they took their time with him because they know the talent that he has. He has the first-round draft capital, and he's going to be forever tied to Terry McLaurin on the other side of the field. And the one thing that I'd heard that Taylor Heineke said is that we're going to get Terry McLaurin the ball. We're going to just force feed him the ball. And the good thing is he's going to take that double coverage and leave Jahan Dotson open downfield or the intermediate routes. And we see with the intermediate routes, he's able to, take it to the house at any time. The biggest thing for me is that Jahan is a receiver who's 5'11", 181, but he doesn't play 5'11". He plays like 6'1", 6'2" because of his vert, and he can get up and catch those balls. So a short receiver like that can go downfield and win those 50-50 balls. So I think he's a guy next year, if they do stay with Taylor Heineke or upgrade that position, he's a guy who can go up maybe a tier or 2. I'm not going to say that he's going to be a wide receiver 1 or high-end wide receiver 2. But a low-end wide receiver 2, I take that all day for my fantasy team. And that's somebody that you can be able to play from a week-to-week basis, or if you want to put somebody in a flex position. They are a team that looks like they're going to run the ball. But again, that's going to help downfield stuff, that play action passes that works best for his skill set. So when we have trades, they have a Jahan Dotson and a 23 first for a Joe Mixon. I like Jahan Dotson. And again, I was talking about Joe Mixon in the last podcast that we were talking about. He's getting a little bit older. We always talk about how we want to build around wide receivers for our dynasty teams, and we can get younger, acquire those assets in a rookie draft, so you can get these young rookies in the 23 draft and the 24 drafts and build around them.
He really hasn't had super amount of opportunity, but he's a guy that the ball's thrown to him, there's a good chance he's going to catch the dang thing. It's Alec Pierce. On the season, he has 60 targets, 32 receptions, 510 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If you just go look at the highlights for the last, I think it was week 5 and week 13, where he actually got opportunities to get targeted pretty heavily. The dude just makes plays. It doesn't matter where the ball is thrown. The defender could be almost picking it off, and the guy snatches it from him almost every single time that it happens. It's huge for Matt Ryan because, against Dallas, he probably could have had 20 picks, but Alec Pierce helped him out with that. Alec Pierce is a guy that you really didn't have to spend too much draft capital for in the first place. I think it was like a late second. It's paying off to have those late round pick or the later picks if you're a contending team. Alec Pierce has just dominated when he's gotten the targets. Whenever he gets 6 targets, he gets over 12 points. If the guy can just be in the offense heavily and be an absolute menace getting targets, he's going to do so. The guy is just uber athletic. It doesn't have to be a deep pass. We see a lot of the times where he was winning deep in college. That's not the case. He can win short, intermediate routes as well. And he's a solid wide receiver. That's what I want. I want a guy that is going to make plays. Doesn't always have to be the best ball, but if you throw it to him, you can probably count on him to catch it if it's in his range. The QB play has just been subpar. The coaching has just been all over the place. You never really know what you're going to get from week in and week out with that team. We see Matt Ryan. I don't even know. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to shed a tear for that kid last week because it was just embarrassing and sad, everything that was happening to him. And that offense has to get better next season. They're obviously going to have to get a new quarterback next year, whether it's in the draft or whether it's a free agent. There's a couple good guys out there. But Alec Pierce is a guy that I really love. I think he can reach that wide receiver 2 tier, but I really see him more as a wide receiver 3 moving forward. And there's a lot of good trades out there. There was a trade, Alec Pierce in a first for George Pickens. And honestly, Alec Pierce is a dog. Get that first round pick. I honestly don't hate it. George Pickens is again target heavily. I think he's a great talent. Don't get me wrong, but getting a first and Alec Pierce, I don't hate it. I think it's a good opportunity. Alec Pierce for Devin Singletary, an aging veteran running back, possibly going to be getting snaps taken from James Cook. Here's your chance. Go get him. I keep Trey Cut. I think he's wide receiver 51 at the moment. Doesn't have super value. Go out and try to throw a second out there, and you can probably acquire Alec Pierce, and you're going to be happy for it the next few seasons.
Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. Look, I get it. He is currently wide receiver 55 on the season. Davis Mills is so bad, they went to Kyle Allen. The quarterback ceiling can only go up from here, whether it's CJ Stroud, whether it's Bryce Young, Will Levis, or maybe even Anthony Richardson, although I feel like he needs to go somewhere where he gets a little bit of the Jordan Love treatment. He's very raw yet. I don't think that the Houston Texans are in a position to wait another year to go get a starting quarterback. And it's not like they have a good placeholder. He's getting plenty of targets, and eventually they're even going to be catchable targets, hopefully in time for his third-year breakout. He only has 1 drop on the season, and he is number 11 among wide receivers in contested catch percentage at 61.5%. So look, Nico doesn't drop the ball. He's just not getting really good targets. The Houston Texans offense is awful, even though the offense is boring. For a big outside wide receiver at 6'4", 215 pounds, he's the prototype of the guy that's going to get the majority of the targets in an offense like this. Draft capital wise, a single 2023 second can get it done. What I've seen, some trades, Nate, Nico Collins and a 23 second for Elijah Moore.
I'll take Nico in the second.
Nico Collins, Cam Akers for Dameon Pierce. Which side do you want?
I'm taking the Nico side and Cam Akers. I've seen a little bit of Cam Akers. It seemed like he's starting to get the groove a little bit. And if he goes to another team, I still trust the talent in that case. So throwing Nico in there is perfect with that.
And Chev, a 23 second for Nico Collins and a 23 fourth. Get a little icing on the cake there.
Yeah, there you go. You get a little icing on the cake. And I mean, honestly, those fourth, we really aren't expecting to draft anybody for me. Like, I'm just looking to trade those and move up. Obviously, you're not going to probably move up to a second, but you can move that third a little bit closer to the beginning of the third round. So I like it.
You know, when we're talking breakout, I think right now he's going to ascend. I'm saying at this point in the season, he's at 481 yards. He could realistically push 800 to 900 next year with better quarterback play. It doesn't matter who comes in. He could realistically be a 1,000-yard receiver with 5 to 8 touchdowns, depending.
Yeah.
You're going to have to throw the ball. Dameon Pierce has been stuffed regularly. He could get replaced, as per Nate Christian. Could end up being a solid wide receiver on your wide receiver 3 on your team, even a low-end wide receiver 2. For what you're paying, definitely worth it.
I think with Nico Collins, what you're hoping for is for him to be exactly the same player as Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Would you guys like to do some rapid-fire breakout or bust? Breakout or bust, Nate. Rashad Bateman as a low-end wide receiver 1, and somewhere Zach Duarte's phone is getting thrown out of a window in Miami, Florida. Our very own Florida man spazzing out. Nate Christian talking about Rashad Bateman. Breakout or bust, Shoddy B is a low-end wide receiver 1.
I still think Rashad Bateman has that potential. You know, I'm probably going to go down with the ship, you know, and I'm going to say chances don't look as great as they used to, but I'm still holding strong. I like Rashad Bateman. I think he is still going to be the wide receiver 1 on that offense next year. And I think that offense can have a really good wide receiver who's very efficient. I think Rashad Bateman fits that role. Everyone's got to be healthy, though, and Ravens have not been able to do that for the last 3 years. They have not been able to stay healthy. If they can finally stay healthy next year, I think Rashad Bateman has that ceiling, but buy with caution because the Ravens offense is struggling to stay consistent, and a lot of it's just due to health.
All right, Philip, breakout or bust? Jerry Jeudy as a low-end wide receiver 2.
I still see it as a breakout. We did see Jerry Jeudy is still being relevant, even with the Russ being terrible. Cortland Sutton is still showing that he's not really having so much separation. But as soon as Jerry Jeudy has come back this past week, he did actually have a really good game. And I think from week to week, he can still, you know, get use that consistent week to week fantasy relevancy. That's probably the cap, a low end wide receiver 2. So I still do like that.
Chev, Brandon Ayuk as a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I think he's doing it right now. So I think he can break out again and do the same thing he's doing this season. I mean, he's proven that he's a good target in that offense. He's a guy that they can throw to. He's getting touchdowns. I like what I see out of Brandon Ayuk. We're good to go with Brandon Ayuk moving forward.
Josh Palmer as a mid wide receiver 2. I believe it. Keenan Allen's getting old. Mike Williams has been borderline useless for fantasy this season. DeAndre Carter has been getting really, really relevant snaps. Josh Palmer, it's my dude. I like him. And I think next year it could definitely be his time to shine. So I'm all in on Josh Palmer. Oh, Nate, I feel like you want to say something here.
I'm with Nate too.
What if
I don't want to say much other than I just don't agree.
I put my name next to not yours, so it's rapid fire.
Well, if you look at the mock draft the other day for 2023, they got a pretty solid wide receiver. Go drop the link, Bob.
I don't think Bob actually drops the links when I tell him to.
Well, maybe he'll do it this time, or he'll cut it out. One of the two.
All right, next one, Chev. Last one, Darnell Mooney as a wide receiver 2.
I can't buy that right now, man. I want to. I love Mooney. I talked about him when he was a rookie. I just can't see it. I don't see it right now. I think they're going to get another wide receiver. You got Claypool there. I think they're going to run the football a heck ton. Not for me at the moment, sadly.
Well, that is it for this video. I do hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below your thoughts on the video itself. If you want to support this team and go deeper with us and get access to bonus content, written content, rankings, and our Discord community group chat, be sure to check out patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. It's a great way to support the brand and let us know that you want us to keep cranking out awesome content. And you get access to all of us 24/7. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video today, I'm sure you'll love this one too. Be sure to go check it out. But hey, that is it for me today. I'll see y'all in the next one. But until then, y'all have a good one.